Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been a couple of chilly days here in Canada, in Montreal in particular, but today the summer seems to be getting closer and the sun is out again and I'm at my favorite place. I love taking you guys wherever I go, especially the places that I love the most. And I am actually at Oka Park right now, which is a beautiful, beautiful park. And I'm actually at a little chalet compact, so it's this little compact cottage that basically there's enough room for about 2 people, and there's a few of them around the park. Anyways, it's an amazing place. So this week I wanted to talk about something that probably every single human being does at some point or another, and that is procrastination. I think it's something that we can fall into at different points in our life, and I actually want to start by saying that sometimes procrastination can be something negative, which I think that's how we perceive it most often, but there can actually be a positive side to procrastination, or a positive reason to be procrastinating on something. And I'm actually going to start with that because I think that's maybe the point of view that people have less often about procrastination. Procrastination gets a bad rap, and I think sometimes maybe there's intuition that seems actually it's camouflaged, if you will, as procrastination, but it's actually your intuition telling you that maybe you shouldn't move forward with something that you've been thinking of doing. So I have an example that stems from a few years ago, I would say about probably 7 or 8 years ago, and it's when I first started really getting this yearning to start a business. And it was something that was coming up more and more often for me, and eventually I had a few specific ideas. I first started off wanting to have a boutique, a shop, like a clothing store. Of course it had to be fashion. And I had the business plan. I had everything set up. I was really serious about it, and then there was something inside of me that stopped me from moving forward. And at the time I didn't really know what it was, and to be honest, for quite a while I felt very guilty about the fact that I didn't move forward with that idea, project, dream, if you will. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. Maybe you have a dream or a special project in mind, and for some reason, sometimes it can be just, you know, reality or actual obstacles that are in the way, but sometimes there might be another reason why we don't move ahead with certain projects or certain goals. And I'll give you my second example. So it was also, my second example is actually a business as well. So it was another, I wanted to start a doggy daycare. So you can see there's like completely 2 different things. But I had a dog at the time. I'm a huge, huge animal lover. Once again, I wrote up the whole business plan. You know, I spent weeks on this, researching where I could actually what location I could open up the doggy daycare at and all that. And then finally, once again, that was put, I wouldn't even say on the back burner, that was kind of put in a drawer somewhere that I was like, didn't really intend looking back there. And at the beginning, my thought was, you know what, I love animals, I love dogs, but I just don't see myself like shoveling poop every day, and sorry, but that's true. I realized that the reality of what it meant between that and the kind of fantasy of having a doggy daycare and playing with cute dogs all day, there was a difference. So that was kind of the first reason why I decided I didn't want to do it. But in the end, and this is many, many years later, I finally realized why I didn't move ahead with those 2 ideas and those 2 businesses. And they were something that I was really, really excited about at the time. And, you know, as I said, I spent a lot of time on the business plan, and I was, you know, I talked about, you know, this project with different people and all that. So I really had a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that I hadn't moved forward. But a couple of years ago, when I decided to launch the business I currently have, I finally realized why I had procrastinated or not gone ahead with these other 2 ideas. And it's because those businesses, even though they tapped into some passions inside of me, so whether it's fashion or animals, they didn't have a soul, and that is something that is extremely important to me. And I mean, it's no judgment regarding any businesses that are out there or any projects that anybody would like to take on, but for me, what I realized, if I'm going to pour my heart and soul into something, and I knew that I would. It has to have a heart, it has to have a soul. And so for a long time, I was kind of kicking myself and saying, oh, you're so lazy, you didn't go ahead with those projects, or, oh, you say, you know, you're all talk and you're no action. And I had a lot of like negative dialogue going on regarding that. And in the end, it wasn't clear at the time, but as I said recently, years later, it became clear why I didn't go ahead with those ideas, with those dreams. Really, they were really dreams for me. So it was the dream of being an entrepreneur, of having my own business, but I guess it was the form that wasn't the right fit for me. So I think that we need to really treat ourselves kindly when we maybe decide to go for a dream and then maybe change our mind or put it aside or whatever it is. There can be a reason. Like, I think we often jump to the negative conclusion, the harsh conclusion that, oh, we're lazy, oh, we never really like you know, go through on certain things and all that. But there can be a very, very valid reason, and it might not be clear right away. So that's why I say be careful between labeling something as procrastination and labeling something as, well, maybe it's my intuition telling me that I don't need to move ahead with this right away. It could be maybe you don't do it at all, or maybe you wait for, you know, certain reasons. Now, this brings me to the second, or the flip side of procrastination, is being the more negative side. Being careful not to procrastinate just because of fear, or, you know, always making up a lot of excuses. And I think it's quite easy to find a lot of reasons why we don't want to do certain things that are scary. I mean, we can find a lot of reasons to do simple things that not necessarily scary, like, I don't know, cleaning the house and stuff like that. But I think it's much easier to find reasons and to actually believe those reasons when there's something that's calling us, but that's scary as hell. And that can be different things. Obviously, the example that comes to mind for me is starting, you know, your own business, or maybe a smaller example, starting my blog. I procrastinated on that for 2 years. It was the fear of not being good enough, the fear of who am I to do this? There's already a million blogs out there, the fear of it sucking, of it not being perfect, which I talk about in another video as well, which I will put the link down below. If we start comparing ourselves and looking at what's out there, sometimes we set the bar a little too high, to the point where we decide not even to do something because we think it's not going to meet our high standards. So procrastinating when we're fearful of something, it can be really, like, procrastination and fear, they can be really, really sneaky. It can be so subtle that we don't realize why we are procrastinating. We can find other reasons. And yeah, I think we need to be really aware of that. And I always come back in every single one of my videos I've done so far. I think I always come back to that, is awareness. And I think that, honestly, this is my main message to you. If you remember one thing of all these videos, if you've been watching my videos since I started them, the key thing to living healthy and happy, the first step, I would say, is awareness. Is developing an awareness of what we're doing. And awareness doesn't mean then you start judging yourself or labeling this is good, this is bad behavior. It's just noticing, first of all, what's going on, and then trying to figure out why. So notice in your life where you've been procrastinating. If it's something that's not that important to you, that you find isn't impacting you negatively, like, let's say, I don't know, cleaning the house or little things like that, sure, you know, you want to get to it eventually, but that isn't necessarily a life-changing situation. But if there are other yearnings inside of you, whether it's taking a certain class, you know, trying out a new hobby, but once again you think, oh, maybe I'm too old, maybe I don't have the time, oh, I won't be that good, oh, I'm not really artistic or creative, whatever it is, like our inner mean girl, the ego mind, can find so many reasons to keep us in this, like, bubble and in our comfort zone. But that's not the best way to live your life. Really, you want to live your life, you want to live this adventure fully, you've got to get out there, you've got to step outside your comfort zone. And you have to notice when you are procrastinating because of fear, because of perfectionism. Like, it basically, honestly, usually comes down to fear, and then it can be fear broken down to a million different categories or variations. So take account what's going on in your life. If there are certain places in your life where you feel stuck, it could be in your personal life. Maybe you haven't met that special someone and you can't figure out why. Maybe you've been blaming yourself, or maybe you've been saying, well, there's nobody good out there, or whatever it is, your career, whatever it is. Notice where you've been stuck, where you've had the intention maybe of doing something, but you haven't moved forward yet. And then check in with yourself and be real with yourself for a moment, and really, with kindness and non-judgment, pinpoint the reason why. So just coming back to the beginning, there might be a really good positive reason why you're not moving ahead with that, and then there might be more the fear, the ego, and all of that stuff. So kind of dig deep inside, look at what's going on, find out if there is procrastination, try to determine why. If you're not sure why, once again, sometimes you have to give yourself time. Like, imagine me, it took me years to figure out why I didn't move ahead with those 2 businesses. So I'm not saying that it's something that's easy necessarily, but it's something that's worth doing. And once again, I think it's really, really important to treat yourself with kindness when you are going through this process, and when you start developing self-awareness and you start noticing what's going on inside, in your head and in your heart and all that. You really, really have to treat yourself kindly, because if you start judging and criticizing and looking at yourself like you need to fix this and that, then you're not going to find this process pleasant. It's just going to add more stress, and I guess your reflex will be to turn away from that process, and then just kind of maybe dive in being unconscious and unaware, and you know, trying to fill your life with all these kind of numbing behaviors and all that, rather than looking, as I said, looking within, being real with yourself and seeing what's going on and how you can move forward. So let me know how you're doing, how maybe you've been procrastinating. If you notice that maybe it can be a past experience where you did decide to put a project to the side or to not do something, and then it turned out there was a good reason. I love to know your personal experiences as well. It's great for other people that are reading, that are watching this video within the Red Fairy community, to know that they are not alone. Like, I think the best thing that we need to remind ourselves is we're all on this journey together. We are not alone in going through the challenges that we go through and the thoughts that we have, and I think it's way, way better and healthier to share and connect with others when we're going through this, which is probably one of the reasons why I do this, and I share these experiences and these insights with you guys. So I wish you a wonderful, wonderful week, and I love you very much. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this, if it's been helpful, if you maybe had an insight as you were listening, let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.